Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Governing India, the New Brigade. Today we meet two young legislators, Kalikesh Singh Deo from Orissa, who has just started his political career, and Arvinder Singh Lovely from Delhi, who has a decade of solid work behind him. Kalikesh Narayan Singh Deo is the youngest member of the Odisha State Assembly, and he personifies the Gen Next politician. Well educated, with a powerful political lineage and some invaluable corporate experience thrown in. Kalikesh belongs to the royal family of Bolangir, and his father, A.U. Singh Deo, is a minister in the Odisha cabinet and considered to be very close to the Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. Kalikesh won the Senthala Assembly constituency in 2004 after a business stint at ITC Classic and Enron. An economics graduate, Kalikesh is a firm believer in development, and his special interests include economic deregulation and socio-economic issues. I began by asking Kalikesh whether being the youngest legislator in the State Assembly has inherent advantages or is a handicap.
I think a bit of both. I think being the youngest, it takes a while to establish your credibility, especially among the senior people. But being the youngest, people look forward to new ideas, revolutionary ideas from you. It's a little bit of both.
All right. What was your first speech like in the Assembly?
My first speech was on the finance, on general finance. And I must say I was very nervous before that. But having gone through the process, I received a lot of good wishes and congratulations for that, especially amongst the members of the opposition, so that felt really good.
And how long did you prepare for it?
24 hours, I would think. Basically reading the last 5 years' budgets. I don't write my speeches, I don't read my speeches, I make points and talk, so that's how it goes.
Does the fact that you have had a public school education, does that somewhere help? Does that give you a lot more confidence?
In public speaking maybe, because I used to be a public speaker in school. But to actually try and relate to people's issues, maybe it's a little disadvantageous for that, because you're not really grown up there, you haven't really been in the same experience, had the same experiences as they've had.
You've been quoted as saying that, the 10 years that you spent out of Orissa, you were trying to find yourself. What was that journey like, and what was it coming back into the hurly-burly of politics here?
I come from a very political family of Orissa, an old political family of Orissa. And for me, the way I pictured myself after I graduated from college, I figured that things would be rather easy for me here. And I wouldn't face the kind of challenges that would sort of build the strength of my character. That's why I chose to get out and spend 10 years working and finding myself in different forms, in different organizations. And for me to come back here was a very natural choice. It was something I had decided to do when I was 18 years old. So it wasn't something strange at all. I came back and I must say I adjusted completely to politics and to the life here.
When you said that you knew at 18 that you were going to come back into politics, was this a decision in any way influenced by the fact that your father and grandfather were, in politics, or was it something that you yourself wanted to do?
The decision was completely mine. My father wasn't keen on me joining politics so early. He wanted me to spend more time doing business and other things. Of course, it must have been influenced by the experiences of being with my father and grandfather, but certainly the decision was all mine.
A lot of young politicians whom I speak to always say that their fathers, who are also politicians, rarely seem to have time for family and rarely seem to be able to spend time with them. Did you experience something like that?
Luckily, I got to spend a lot of time with my father while he was politicking. So I got to experience politics in that way. And my father was very particular. My parents were very particular to spend time with us. And I think they made it a point to do so.
Tell me a little bit about Bolangir and what exactly are your plans for them, because it is a very backward area. Of course, Odisha by itself has some natural disadvantages, but Bolangir per se is also a very backward district. What are your plans?
Bolangir per se, as you very rightly said, is a very backward district. It's primarily based on agriculture, but has very low irrigation. It has very limited mineral reserves, so setting up industries there is not easy. The first thing I would like to see in Bolangir is a lot more irrigation. Now we are trying to build a major irrigation project there for the last 15 years, and land rehabilitation has been a major problem. Secondly, industry must be encouraged. Not having mineral resources is a disadvantage, but land is plentiful in Balangir, and that today is a scarce commodity. And that can be used by the government and by the people of Balangir to bring certain industries in.
How easy or how difficult is it to be able to achieve what you're talking about?
Getting work done in the government is never easy, but I hope to do, well, I've started to do some of that.
Having experienced corporate life yourself, does it sometimes frustrate you? Because when there are projects in the corporate world, you've got benchmarks, you've got certain deadlines which everybody adheres to or pays for it. It doesn't work like that in real life or doesn't work like that in government. Does that sometimes frustrate you? And if it does, how do you work around it?
Absolutely. I think we face a 5-year deadline more or less, but notwithstanding that, the government is not very concerned about our deadlines, so we really have to push and sometimes push against a wall to get things done. Above all of that, I think the kind of work you can do here in politics, the kind of impact you can have directly on people or people's lives is tremendous. I think the satisfaction of having done those things far outweighs any frustration or challenges that you may face.
When you went into your constituency the first time around, what was the feeling like?
My constituency is a very backward constituency and 100% rural. I have to say, it was after some time that I had gone back to the villages after I'd come back from the US and stuff, and it was a feeling of despair that I saw in people, of hopelessness, and a feeling of expectation from my family, and consequently me. And for me, that really acted as an impetus for me to get into politics, and it probably made my determination even stronger than what it was before.
But tell me, just looking at you and the fact that you have spent a lot of time outside the state, whether it's in the assembly, whether it's in your constituency, do you find it difficult to relate to people, or do people find it difficult to relate to you?
I think some people find it difficult to understand me. I don't think there's a problem in relating to each other. For me, as far as my job goes, I have to understand their problems. I have to understand what they desire, and I also have to have a sense of what is good for them and somehow marry the two. I can't be a completely populist politician all the time. That doesn't achieve the purpose for which I've entered politics. I have to, at some point of time, try and convince them to do things which they may not want initially, but which may be in the larger interest.
But for example, your constituency, in the beginning, a lot of people would show you a lot of respect, given your lineage, given the fact that they understand where you're coming from, and they have a certain amount of feeling and consideration for that. Has that still stayed?
I certainly hope so. You're very right. In the beginning, my first election was based more on my lineage, more on the party, and to a little extent on my youth and my education background. I would think the next election would be based upon my performance.
So would you agree with what some sociologists say, that where family and privilege is concerned, it works only to an extent in politics?
I wouldn't think so. At the end of the day, every politician has to go through an electoral process, and every politician has to win in that election. There are a lot of people who come from established political families who lose all the time. In fact, the people who win are a minority, but they are more noticed because they stand out in their performance, which is why they are more noticed. I think other professions also have their children entering the same profession. At the end of the day, it is one's own performance which establishes whether you will succeed or fail.
When you compare yourself to your father or your grandfather, I'm sure there are comparisons made. How would you say your style of functioning is different from theirs?
I think all three of us have had a very distinct style of functioning. We come from 3 different generations which had 3 different kinds of needs and 3 different kind of expectations from the people. And I personally don't do any comparisons. What I would like to do, or what I try and do, is pick what I think is the best in them and try and replicate that.
For example?
For example, my grandfather was a completely honest person and a great administrator. 2 things he was known for was honesty and administration. And I've tried to understand how he managed maybe even a more difficult government and a bureaucratic setup at that point of time to achieve what he wanted to do. For my father, he's a great mass leader. I try and examine and understand how he relates and motivates people to work along a common goal.